Yeah, so now we're live. So we basically have three main topics. The kind of the big three topics. I put them in the title. Might be a little bit clickbaity for what I put on my title, but yeah, it's gonna be about Total Biscuit, E3, and Battlefield changing history by adding women. So it's a little bit
Yeah,
clickbaity, but I
just a
mean,
little bit clickbait over here. Come on, man. You're better than this.
so
As always, I'm DDR Freak, and we've got
yeah, and
and we all know you, the end it all over here.
yeah. So let's just dive into it with
With the
Battlefield
Battlefield.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
Yeah, so
what
have you
should
seen
we
the
call it?
trailer for
Clusterfuck?
have you seen the trailer
Clusterfuck?
for the new Battlefield 5?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. What did you think of the trailer itself?
Ah, the best way I could describe it is messy.
Messy, how so?
It just seems unfocused. I don't know if it wants to be a gameplay trailer or a CGI trailer, and yeah, so I think it's just all over the place.
I see what you're getting at with that. Yeah, that makes sense in that regard. Um, Yeah, I get that. And by the way, if I'm over on D Live and Angie's over on YouTube. You've got the links to you put the link to the Battlefield 5 trailer in there, right?
One sec. I can do it.
Okay. On my post on D Live, I've got the link to the Battlefield 5 trailer as well. So if you haven't seen it, you totally should. It's interesting. It did feel rather frenetic. It didn't feel like it wanted to show off a lot like what you described, where it was too much at once. I think that is a very good assessment of it. It was action packed. It was certainly entertaining.
Yeah, but it felt like a shaky cam, and things are just happening on the screen, but it's not very well executed.
Okay,
I think there are a lot of ways you could have done it better. They should have either stuck with a gameplay trailer or a CGI trailer
but not
showcasing.
both at the same time.
Yes.
I see what you're getting at.
Uh,
Now, as I recall, that trailer itself is actually pretty mixed in reviews here. I'm just looking at it right now. 48,000 upvotes, 60,000 downvotes, and over 1.5 million views. So it's interesting to see basically a 45-55 split at this point in terms of reaction.
yeah, and that's what I've seen. Um, I think it's a little bit of the pandering that's gone around it. I've seen quite a few articles going around, like not the one where we have linked, but I just saw the GM of Dice basically saying now is the time for a female protagonist in video games, ignoring that.
Yeah, that guy. And actually, that's a great segue to the articles that we've got linked here. We've got archives for Kotaku and Polygon, and just the title from Luke Plunkett on the Kotaku article. Oh no, there are women in Battlefield 5.
Which one do you want to handle first?
Let's start with the Kotaku article, just because that's the one that I've got open right now. Just the way that
Uh,
they word it, just oh no, there are women in Battlefield 5. It's dismissive of the arguments, like what you've said here, where the trailer tries to do too much. It's basically creating a straw man to dismiss any criticism of the trailer.
yeah. Oh, one sec. Here we go. So, yeah, the headline says, "Oh no, there are women in Battlefield. There are women in Battlefield 5, a game set during the Second World War. They're in the game. They're in the trailer. They're even on the posters, and a lot of people are very upset. Is this what their forefathers fought for?" So I'm just gonna start out what people, at least what I've seen, and my own personal issue with how they just presented the game and this is that they've just it feels like pandering, and they've said that Battlefield is supposed to be authentic and historical accurate to some good degree, as a game like this can be.
And I find that hilarious because Battlefield has never really been like an accurate mil sim shooter, like ever. I mean, the picture that's been going around of the two guys standing on top of the horse, one of them with a flamethrower, the other one with a machine gun, and it just is like lighting everything up, like it. And the pony lion, the peekaboo launching the tank into the air with C4 to shoot a plane out of the sky. Battlefield's never really been a mil sim shooter ever, really. So it's that does seem a little disingenuous. But I think the thing we really don't need to read these articles because that's giving them more credit than they deserve. Um,
Yeah,
these
it
articles, I
should.
mean, it what bugs me about this is that they've created a straw man and saying that this is the face of all of the criticism about Battlefield, when even when you look at this trailer and you see 48,000 upvotes, 60,000 downvotes, to say that everybody thinks that everybody that voted this downvote is because of historical accuracy or because there are women, because a female is the protagonist, does a disservice to the audience. It does a disservice to the reader, to Kotaku's readership, and it really does a disservice to the game overall.
Yeah,
This controversy is not a positive controversy. It's not something that you can take
yeah,
and say, "Oh, these guys are all a bunch of haters. You should buy the game anyway." It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. That's not how you drum up controversy to win. And
yeah. True.
that I think that's what bugs me the most. I mean, then again, this protagonist that we see with the with her left arm gone, that cricket bat looks wicked. I'm just saying. I mean, that cricket bat with the split with the barbed wire and the chain on it, that's a wicked piece of hardware. I would not want to go toe to toe with her. She looks dressed to fight.
Yeah, but it uh, Battlefield 1, that's where they stressed this historic accurate. But from the article, which has never been based on anything approaching historical accuracy, now has historic and accurate portrayals of women and a black man fighting with guns in the Second World War. See,
Yeah.
the issue
Sid Alpha had a great video posted just like a day or so ago, talking about the black witches that flew bombing runs over Germany during World War II, and it was an all female air squad, and they ran literally in plywood planes, like literal plywood for the structure. And they were so hated by the Germans that any pilot that shot one down would be awarded an Iron Cross, which was Nazi Germany's highest honor.
mm,
So I mean,
and
there's certainly room for it. It's just if you're going to be stressing historical accuracy, you realize that women were never relegated to front lines. It was usually medic or motorcade or motor pole.
well, basically all of the support roles, what this is saying here, and they were on the front lines, yes, but they weren't at the front of those lines. They were
They were
either
never infantry,
snipers, yes,
they'd be hired for guerrilla tactics,
yeah, and
guerrilla warfare
so
with over 300 confirmed kills.
yeah, and so there's because Battlefield 1 was the one where because they wanted to differentiate themselves from Call of Duty, which was just over the top and just crazy science fiction stuff. So with Battlefield 1, they actually, I think there are 5 or 6 stories. I haven't played them all.
Yeah,
And those stories are based on real people, historical accuracy on
yeah.
those stories. So for this author here, Luke, what was it,
Plunkett.
Plinkett?
Yeah, Lunkhead. Yeah,
Yeah, so for him to say this, that and that the historical accuracy was never a thing for the game is an outright lie. And
Yeah.
also, yeah, so and I don't know what they were thinking when they started to launch this marketing campaign. Why they went this route.
Yeah.
Because people generally who play Battlefield, they like the game. And why is there a reason for it to for them to just change it up and just switch the format so much that people are not liking this? The only thing when I watched reveal stream was that there weren't gonna be a pay to win system, and there weren't gonna be loot boxes or anything like
That
that.
was huge. Yeah, that was a really that was the I think the biggest surprise out of that announcement, more than
Yeah, and
anything else.
there was gonna be free DLC.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, why are we not talking about that? Because that's huge, especially in today's markets.
yeah, and see, that's how much they've screwed up. They should have gone with a goodwill and showing, even though they're with EA, showing they're trying to focus on a good game, being more consumer friendly, and delivering a World War II game, which we haven't had in quite a long time with Battlefield.
Yeah,
Battlefield was pretty much the height of the World War II shooter,
yeah,
and with a 1942 game. And instead, we are talking. We have two articles, even more than that, the ones we highlighted here, about how good it is to have women in the game. I mean, they did the same thing with the expansions of Battlefield 1, and nobody complained about that.
yeah. No, and not only that, but Samus Aran would like a word with would like a word with these guys.
Lara Croft. I mean,
Yeah,
the GM is all about, oh, now we finally have female representation in this game. You just made a game in Battlefront 2, which I just like finished 10 minutes ago with
yeah.
a regular stream, which has a female protagonist, and I was quite surprised how good the story was. So what the fuck are these
you
people talking about?
You're probably the only person that liked the story in Battlefront 2. A lot of people thought it was incredibly bland. I never played it, so I have no horse in this race, but I know a lot of people railed on the story for being flat and one dimensional and
It's
not
it's
very interesting.
it's more the mission structures that's
Oh, okay. All
boring.
right.
The story itself is actually good. It's
Huh,
just
okay.
a little bit of repetition over and over again in the story missions, but the story itself, I mean, I can't really complain. I know I've seen Angry Joe's review way before I bought the game, and yeah, there's the one mission where you get to play as Luke Skywalker, and
Yeah.
pretty much all you do is basically try to fend off insects. So that's kind of stupid.
I've seen clips of that. Sid Alpha has put a couple of those clips into his videos when he was talking about Star Wars, and so did Skill Up actually included a couple of clips of that scene, a couple of clips of that level.
Yeah, and that's kind of a bad design. But I have to
They
say,
need to
like,
tighten up the graphics in level 3.
uh, so yeah, I mean, you have I listed a bunch of names to this guy. I retweeted him and put out a bunch of names saying he was wrong regarding to females in games. Uh, the best selling IPA for Sony last year was Horizon Zero Dawn, and that
Yeah,
had a female protagonist.
Alloy. Yeah,
So yeah, so I don't know what these people are talking. If the game is good, and there's no pandering or anything like that, you just want to do a good game, tell a good story, something that interests people. People are gonna buy it and are gonna be interested in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, and by the way, if any of your viewers want to chime in and add questions or comments, I know I'm pretty sure you've got a chat on your YouTube live stream, and I've got open chat on my D Live as well. So if you have questions, if somebody, if you chime in, I'll read out, and I'm sure you do the same for YouTube, right?
Yeah, if people are saying stuff in the chat, I'm gonna bring them up. One
Awesome.
second, I'm gonna present again.
Yep. And then one last thing that kind of bugs me about the Polygon article. The use a vocal minority of fans got called out by Dice general manager Oscar Gabrielson. And that bugs me about the going back to the Kotaku dismissing and diminishing your opposition. That bugs me quite a bit too. Just from the very perspective of, oh hey, these people don't matter. A vocal minority of fans got called out. That again, going back to that 60,000 downvotes, this is called you're diminishing the overall effect for your to make yourself look better. And it does. I'm sorry, that's not the way to do this. I'm really sorry, but that it's just no.
Here I want to read the bottom half of this article because I think that it summarizes what the issue is with gamers and just journalists. It doesn't bother them. He basically previously just talked about that games aren't historical accurate and they wouldn't be fun. So it doesn't bother them that randomly created soldier with no training can jump behind the controls of a complex fighter aircraft or expertly handle cross-section of enemy weapons. They don't care or that the streets of European cities aren't recreated on a one-to-one scale, or that uniform details aren't strictly adhered to, or that battlefields war is fought to time limits and kill counts. Those things are acceptable compromises. It's a video game, and those are video game things that the Second World War just needs to accommodate with its representation in order to work. Yet introduce something as relatively harmless as it has zero impact on gameplay, as women or black soldiers were historically there were none, and suddenly the sky is falling. It's almost as though the opposition to a British woman holding a gun or a black man serving in a combat role has little to do with historical accuracy, and everything about someone finding their current views on gender, race, society challenges in a space the good old days they thought was safe. Battlefield isn't and never has been about recreating the past. There are far more serious and studious Second World War game for that kind of business. Instead, it's always been about letting people in the present use war as a playground. And if Dice wants to broaden its scope of those represented in those games, then that's awesome for everyone involved. Well,
Well,
almost everyone.
almost everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, missing the point entirely. Make a
So
game that's good, make a game that's fun, nobody cares.
if you wanna go all like alternative history, you should do that, but don't like claim it's gonna be a World War II game in the regular sense.
Yeah, no. And you can and when it comes to multiplayer, I don't think people are going to care because it's whatever. You basically create yourself or you create what you want to be. Whatever. It's when you get into story missions where you're going in where you're have a specific scenario, specific mission, stuff like that. I think that's really where the details are far more important, and where if you're gonna tout historical accuracy, it's gonna be in the campaign. And yeah, I would say there's a very real case for, hey, make sure you get things right.
And this sentence here, it just goes against everything Battlefield 5 is, because it is about recreating the past. Battlefield
Yeah.
1 was about recreating the past. Battlefield 1942 was about recreating the past. Battlefield 4 was about recreating the past. Battlefield 3 was about recreating the past, and Battlefield 2 was also about recreating the past.
Yeah.
So this guy has no goddamn clue what he's talking about.
No, he does not. No, he does not. And
Yeah,
that's kind of the catch there, isn't it?
and yeah, with this intro here, a small but vitriolic cross section of fans. Like, if you watch,
Again,
look at
diminishing
the
your opposition.
yeah, and when you're doing this, you get the Streisand effect, and this is clearly lying when you look at the downvotes on the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, you're all this hand waving by these two authors and from others as well. It's just really, really irritating to watch
Yeah.
because people have some concerns about the game. Fans of the games. There are people who want to even pre-order this game, give up their money before the game is even out, and all you can do is shit on them.
Yeah. That does nobody favors. And I
Yeah,
mean
and
nobody.
where is the skepticism that both sides of the coin in these articles? Articles on this should be balanced, and these
And that was,
aren't.
it was interesting because Sid Alpha touched on that on his BF5 video. He said, "I'm just a mook with a mic. I don't have any press credentials. I don't have any, I don't have any journalism backing. I don't never went to school for this. I just talk about what I see, and I'll still try and present both sides of the argument just to make sure that I give it a fair shake. I can't argue with that logic at all. You know?
Yeah, and here, what the author is saying here, the game also features a female avatar on the cover of the standard edition of the game. Social media and Reddit users see the cover art as evidence of DICE putting its thumb in the eye of historical accuracy. That's despite historically evidence of women taking part in combat operations, guerrilla warfare, espionage during World War, as well as the developer's stated goal to tell all new and interesting stuff. Yeah, but
Yeah. And they're
we
right,
all
absolutely. But at the same time, hey guys, we might want to consider, taking this and I don't know, maybe tell an espionage story, tell a guerrilla tactics story in the campaign, and then whatever happens in multiplayer is like whatever. I mean, I that would not bother me at all. I mean, multiplayer is you go to multiplayer for suspension of belief.
yeah,
Let's be
and
honest.
here, I mean, saying that World War II was a greatest drama in human history. What the fuck is that?
No, I mean, if they really want to talk about the greatest drama, the most dramatic battle of World War II, it's not going to be anything it's not going to be anything there. It's not going to be anything in the Pacific Theater. It's not going to be D-Day. It's going to be the Battle of Castle Itter in Austria. Let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, but like
Or the
just
British
generally,
invasion of Iceland. God, that was ridiculous.
or Norway. I mean, that was also very undramatic. Uh,
I think the funniest part about the invasion of Iceland is the most heated moment of the entire thing. So when one of the Icelanders walks up to one of the British soldiers, grabs the rifle out of his hand, puts out a cigarette on the stock of the rifle, hands it back, says, "Be careful with that. You could hurt someone."
nice.
I
Well,
mean,
but I just think it's very misguided to say that it's the greatest drama. It's downplaying war and just the amount of people who died and people who got affected and tortured and everything else, and just call
yeah,
it a drama. I think that's really insulting, even for those who survived are even still alive today, even though there aren't that many left.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point. Now, the drama would be like Schindler's List. Oscar
Yeah.
Schindler, the work that he did. I mean, that's a drama.
Yes.
That's a dramatic event. Um, the explosion of the Hindenburg, that would be a dramatic event.
Yes.
We want to go further back. We could include the elephant army marching through the Italian Alps
Yeah.
to invade Rome. I mean, that is a dramatic event.
Yeah. Yeah, but war in itself is not a drama. It's war. It's hell.
War is hell. Yeah, exactly. And it never changes either.
Yeah, and
And
here
yet it's
this.
changed. War has
Yeah.
changed, but war never changes.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. Here this quote: "Our commitment as a studio to do everything we can to create games that are inclusive and diverse. We always set out to push boundaries and deliver unexpected experience. But above all, our games must be fun." You see, had he not added the inclusive and diverse, I would have actually been on board with this.
That's the problem is inclusion and diversity in a vacuum is not a bad thing.
Yes.
The problem is the people who preach that do the
Yes.
exact opposite.
Yes.
And
And
I'm right. It's
but
like,
but but it's like these people have to show that they're not assholes and to show everyone how good they are because of their own insecurities, and have to tell everyone else and put it in whatever they're creating, and just to show how virtuous they are.
they have to scream it at everyone and look how much of a good person I am.
Yes. It's like an RPG for them. They just want to create gather virtuous points and be the highest on the totem pole when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Instead of making a game or whatever you're doing with journalism or whatever these SJWs are doing, just doing it instead of screaming it
Instead of
out.
talking about it, yeah. And shout out to Latino Len for chiming in, saying hi. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you with us. And thanks to the everybody that's already upvoted so far.
Yeah. So the I'm gonna stop screen sharing because
Yeah,
yeah, we pretty much gone because I mean they are basically saying the same thing. The only thing is that the Kotaku article is a little bit longer, but both of them are condescending the reader by basically just hand waving and tell gamers, oh, we should just accept this, which is
yeah,
the literally the opposite of what a journalist should do.
yeah. If anything, they should, if they're reporting on it, they should at least be doing what Sid Alphas did and say, hey, this is what they're reporting. This is what the opposition is saying. Make your own decision.
Yeah. And here's what one side is saying, here's what the other side is saying. Here are basically some of the facts. Make up your own mind.
Yeah, yeah. That's basically it.
Yeah, so
I
we want
think we've
to move.
I think we've covered this one in its entirety and then some, though.
Yeah, so let's move on to the next topic, which is TotalBiscuit
Yeah,
passing away, because I saw his condition suddenly becoming much worse.
yeah. It was about a month or two ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
he,
I'm sharing the tweet that Jenna Bain posted on Thursday, which coincidentally was my birthday. Uh,
yeah,
my
always,
birthday, his death day. You know how these things work out.
always,
But
always fun getting in a year older.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you want to read? Well, what?
Yeah, so she posts, "Rest in peace, my dearest love, John TotalBiscuit Bain, July 8th, 1984 to May 24th, 2018. What year are we in again?" But she
It's
posts
the
this
current year.
poem from, I can't remember where it was from, um, but talking about death. And from what I understand through what I read elsewhere, it was a it was one of his favorite poems, I guess. Oh, so here's a fun little comment. So Fortnite replies, "I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm in North Carolina if you need a friend." She responds, "You know what's strange but kind of lovely? During the hepatic coma he was slipping into several hours before passing, TB was still reviewing and talking about Fortnite in his sleep, doing what he loved right up until the end." I mean, that's actually that's kind of adorable.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
that's sweet.
yeah. So I mean, generally, I didn't really see eye to eye with Total Biscuit.
I didn't
Uh,
either.
but but I think when he stood up for the consumers, I think that was a very noble thing of him to do,
He gained a
considering
lot of
his following.
respect from me for that, and he gained a lot of enemies for that.
Yeah. And what I find disgusting is all these people that are dancing on his grave, and his
Don't even
basically
give him the
he,
time of day. Don't even
yeah.
give him the time of day, dude. I mean, it's not worth it to dwell on them. They they will get every bit of the karma they deserve.
Yeah, I
But
know.
to give them space in your head is turning you into into the people that you despise.
Yeah, I know. It's just people. It's just concerning to me that people don't have like the tiniest bit of respect to for people, and
So be better than them.
Yeah, Jenna Bain, who's probably going through hell right now. Should
Forget about Jenna. The dog is still waiting for TB to come home.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very typical thing of dogs.
Yeah.
Like they kind of notice when things aren't like they should. So
Yeah.
they're you can you notice them when it comes to cats or dogs. They
Definitely.
notice when something. So, is there anything else we wanted to say about Total Biscuit?
Press F to pay respects.
Yeah, yeah.
He would have
Uh,
appreciated that.
yeah. Also, just be decent. Be a decent person.
Yeah, well, I think I would think that would go without saying.
Yeah. Uh. So let's go back to a more cheery
Cheerful.
topic.
Let's talk about E3.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
So
E3.
we have the big ones. We have Bethesda. We have Ubisoft. We have EA.
We have
Microsoft, Sony,
Sony.
and
Yeah.
Nintendo. And we have the
Yeah.
PC show, but usually there aren't really that much stuff that gets shown.
People follow the PC show. I thought the PC gamers did their own thing and just didn't care about E3.
Yeah, true.
And let's be
Um,
honest.
so these are basically just what we think. I mean,
Yeah.
we have no idea what's gonna happen at E3. Um,
Oh, thank you, Latino Land,
did,
for the upvote. I really appreciate that.
do
Sorry,
you think there's
notification
gonna
there.
do you think there's gonna be any big surprises at E3?
You know, Microsoft is going to have to do a Hail Mary pass
Yeah.
this year. I mean, they basically have to. The Xbox One X was supposed to revolutionize this platform, and it has not seen the results they were looking for. And with State of Decay 2 being more or less a flop, and then oh, what was the other game they just launched that
Uh,
was also
I
Sea of
heard
Thieves?
yeah, I heard people calling it State of OK too.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing, and they hyped it into this amazing, really going to be this great game, and you have to get an Xbox One X. But we're not seeing that. Microsoft is faltering right now, and this is coming from somebody who loved what Microsoft was doing with the Xbox One X. I just thought it was a terrible platform to release it on. I mean, that processor that they made for the Xbox One X was amazing from a tech standpoint, from a computer nerd standpoint. That was an amazing piece of hardware.
Yeah,
But putting it in this current generation was a terrible idea.
yeah.
I mean, it really
Yeah,
was. So at this
it's
point,
I mean, it's a most powerful console, but I think it's too late in the consoles. It should have come out a year earlier.
or they
Uh,
should have saved it for the next generation. Give it a
yeah,
year or two, let this console kind of die off, and then announce something big. Because I mean, like there was an announcement. Sony is beginning the legacy support for the PS4 and looking to sunset it by, I think they said 2024. I want to say.
yeah. I mean,
Are they saying PS5 by 2020?
I think they
Is that what
said.
they're saying?
I think they said like a month ago or a few weeks ago that I think they said that they expected that the PS4 has peaked in its sale,
Yeah.
so it's gonna drop. So Xbox, it's just in a really weird place.
Yeah. And
And
and to that
it's
point, that's why I think releasing using the Xbox One X chipset and releasing a new platform entirely in, say, 2019 or 2020 would have been a much smarter move, because then they could have, done E3 2019, say, hey, this will be available this holiday season, and get the jump on Sony, much like what they did with the Xbox 360 versus the PS3 and the Wii. I don't know if you remember that, but the 360 launched in November of 2015, a whole year ahead of the PS3 and the Wii. They had a whole year to cement that player base long before Sony could even get the boots on the ground.
yeah,
And that definitely
they
helped
would have
Microsoft
actually
hang on.
they would have won that generation had they not
Oh,
been
hands down.
Red Ring of
Hands down,
Death.
yeah.
Yeah,
And even so, I would still say Microsoft had a narrow edge over Sony in that generation, simply because of the online support and the games, and then with PlayStation Network being offline for a year and a half, thanks to, was it Lulzboat, I think it was. That whole thing with PSN killed SOCOM 4, it killed MAG, it killed the Resistance online community, it killed
Starhawk.
Killzone, it killed Starhawk, it killed Warhawk. I mean, it did significant damage to Sony's online market offerings, and they didn't have the single player games to back it up. I would say the two platforms. Endgame, I think both platforms did very, very well. I would give a slight nudge to Microsoft, but just a hair's breadth. I mean, it was very, I would say the two were very, very close. And this is coming from somebody that owns both and has a respectable collection for both games, for both
Yeah,
platforms.
yeah. I actually bought a 360 because the PS 3 was so expensive here. What was it? It was like 800, 900 bucks when it first came
Oh
out.
God. Ugh.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah,
like the
that's
small hard drive, and there was no freaking hell I would. I was still in high school. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna ever have that amount of money to buy that console. So right now, Sony is going on full cylinders. With Xbox having problem with Crackdown, we don't know what the hell is going on with that.
and that was
Uh,
announced when the X Phone launched, and we still haven't seen it yet, which should worry a lot of people.
yeah.
I love Crackdown. I think it's a great game series, and to see Terry Crews involved is like, oh my god, this is fantastic. This is
Yeah,
this
but
is
they've just gone so silent after that,
yeah,
where they re-revealed it with Terry Crews, and then just
nothing.
nothing.
Like what the hell?
and then you have what's Phantom Dust, which they canceled and then didn't cancel, then cancel again. Like it's very
Yeah, it's
confusing.
so
And then you
Microsoft
have
needs to do something big. They need to do something big, and they actually need to deliver.
they should have had the balls to go through with Scalebound.
Yeah,
That would
yeah.
have been something really different.
Scale down would have done something good for them.
Yeah,
You are right on that one.
because it's something you did not see coming from Sony. It was just so different. And with Sony, they're concentrating on their single player games because they finally figure out, yeah, we're not good at multiplayer games, and because of the reputation of our PSN outage, we're just gonna stick to single player games and try to do as best we can with those games. And
And
we
they have
see what,
so many good single player games on the PS4.
yeah, and they're creating amazing games right now. Forza,
Yeah,
no, not Forza.
Horizon Zero Dawn,
Yeah.
God of
Uh,
War, Persona 5.
Yes, exactly. And those are amazing games. They are critically and loved by the gamers.
And then you've
And
got Monster Hunter World, which actually has decent multiplayer.
exactly. And you have Spider-Man coming up. I want to see what that game has in store for us.
I'm worried about Spider-Man, I'll be honest. I'm worried
Yeah,
about
I just hope it's good, but I don't see any. I haven't heard any trouble with the game, so I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
Um, and
And
then
then there
the
was
problem.
then Bethesda I mean, they have to do something. I just don't know what they're gonna pull yet. Like they've been
So far,
announcing
it's
like a lot of
Rage
like,
2. Rage
oh yeah,
2 is
Rage 2, that's right, because they're doing that. Which the progression from Rage to Rage 2 reminds me a lot of Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2. Am I the only person that sees that?
um I just saw the trailer, and there's not much I can extrapolate just from that.
What I see in the trailer for Rage 2 is a lot of like a visual aesthetic of neon bright, kind of punky, but kind of the world is your oyster, which was a very similar in going from a grim dark, very serious game to a the world play digital playground. Let's go fuck some shit up and go have fun with it with bright neon colors and kind of a sillier, more lighthearted tone. Watch Dogs took a very similar approach between the first game and the second
Oh,
game,
okay. Now I see what you mean.
and
Yeah,
I'm drawing a parallel between that and Rage.
yeah, but it's also a different studio. It's the guys behind Mad Max that's doing this.
Right, which throws another wrench into the whole thing, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't played the Mad Max game. I heard it was solid. So it's probably and it
Yeah,
has some great driving
yeah,
mechanics.
I think they just had a too small budget to advertise the game properly, because I heard
Yeah.
good things about the game. I think what I've heard rumors about is that they were making a sequel to Mad Max, and it didn't get pushed through by Warner Brothers, and then they just approached Bethesda and hey, why not? You have a game in Rage. Why not to use our assets which we have already created and make Rage 2?
Yeah. That's probably what happened. That's likely what happened there.
And
Um,
these are just rumors, but
yeah,
that's most likely what
it's
happened.
certainly plausible. Um, let's ask your viewers. What are they excited for at E3 this year? What do they look forward to seeing? Um,
Um, yeah, I mean, I've just seen two people posting. Total Biscuit is dead. One didn't know that, and the other one just pressed F. Total Biscuit.
Yeah. So let's see. I'd be interested to see what your viewers think about the about E3 and what they want to see. Personally, I think the popcorn moment this year at E3 is going to be EA's Anthem discussion.
Yeah, that's a
Grab
good
the
point.
popcorn. This one's going to be quite the show because they have a lot to answer for in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and
Yeah.
their fans have every reason to be pissed off at EA. And especially with Anthem being the way it is, they're going to have a lot of very pointed questions drawn their way, and the PR is going to try and deflect as much of it as they can. But you know that the
It's the elephant in
journalists
the
out
room.
there are not
It's
going to let them get away with it.
It's the elephant in the room. Say, I mean, they already kind of botched the like we talked about with Battlefield 5. So they need to have something that people are going to be interested in.
Because they've burned a lot of their goodwill in as of late, and it's going to be very very difficult for them to make sales of much of anything out of Anthem if they keep this up. The and I think it's especially come to a head in the past 8 months with Battlefront 2 and Need for Speed and FIFA and now the loot box regulations in the Netherlands and Belgium. I think
Yeah.
this is really the turning point for EA.
Lunchbox Killer says, "I pray for Anthem's failure. Yes, I should go to hell, but we know that it's gonna be Lootbox the second coming."
You know, he's right. As much as we don't want it to be that way, he is definitely right. And the hard part is we all know it, but EA seems to have their head buried in the sand and think that it'll be just fine the way it is. We all know it won't be, and we don't want that to happen.
Well, EA are the ones that have said that single player games are dead and canceling the Star Wars game with Amy
13,
Hennig.
yeah.
And no, that was Lucas Arts.
No,
They
there was the Star Wars from the Uncharted
yeah,
producer. Right,
I
right,
mean the
right.
30, yeah. So they canceling that single player game and saying single player games are dead. I mean, when you're creating new games with story like BioWare, why should we listen to what EA says when they say story and everything like that is supposed to be dead and irrelevant? Like
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
they're shooting themselves in the foot so
every
much.
chance they get.
And the ironic thing is they have a BioWare making a Dragon Age 4, even though most of them are working on Anthem. But I mean, they're not doing any favors for their own developers. Like, say, I mean,
Yeah,
Jesus, whatever the Respawn guys are working on, it's probably gonna have a single player campaign. I
you
mean,
know, if EA is smart, they will leave Respawn alone
yeah,
because Weston Zampella left. Was it Infinity Ward?
yeah,
Weston Zampella left Infinity Ward because Activision shit on them every chance they could, trying to
yeah.
direct the creative flow. If EA is smart, they will realize that they will learn from Activision's mistake and let them do their own thing. And I really hope they do that because I like Titanfall. I don't do
Uh,
Call of Duty games, but
uh,
Titanfall is Call of Duty that's actually fun.
Yeah. The issue was with Titanfall again, that's EA's fault. They launched it in between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty.
Yeah, yeah,
And
they
that's just
launched it at the
stupid.
worst possible time. I will agree with you on
Yeah.
that. Because
And the
the
single player,
multiplayer is actually really, really good, and the single player was fun. I mean, it was a generic story, but it was enjoyable.
I actually liked it quite a lot.
So
It
did
has
I.
some to a twist and turns. It's not gonna revolutionize the
Well,
shooter genre by any means.
we've seen it all before. I mean, it's every trope in writing out there, but it's done in an entertaining and enjoyable way.
Yeah. And EA constantly not doing any of the developers any favors. I mean, they just shut down what's it called? The guys doing The Sims.
Yeah,
And
Maxis.
yeah, Maxis. Like, what
Well,
are you doing?
they did that to themselves by forcing Maxis to do a bunch of pants on head retarded business decisions about the expansions and the way they handled SimCity. Will Wright is not happy with with what happened to his baby. Like he is pissed off, and he has every right to be.
Yeah, but then again, it's not the developer, it's EA's meddling. does it.
Exactly. Exactly. They can't
Uh,
leave well enough alone on a studio that does something good and
and
makes them money.
it's kind of doing a transition to, you have EA doing really really bad stuff, well, like Microsoft and Sony doing, Sony is doing what they should be doing and are doing it well, and Microsoft kind of fumbling a little bit. EA right now, I don't think they know what the fuck they're doing. They just want to have money. And then you have
Yeah.
Ubisoft that realized this.
Well,
They
they're
stopped.
figuring it out.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not brushing them entirely off the thing that they're good guys, but they realized something very important with Assassin's Creed Origins. That's they let the director of the game, who made Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and just let him have the time, let the franchise breathe. And they
Yeah.
also let the other studios do quirky things, like the game for Nintendo Switch. What was it? It was a mixture of Mario and the
Oh yeah, Mario
rabbits.
and Rabbids. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that came out of left field. So, and they
Well,
should continue.
and the
Go
division with Massive. I mean, Massive was basically given free reign to work on it as they needed, and the studio actually was, I would say, for 2016 and 2017, Massive Entertainment was the shining star of the development houses under the Ubisoft umbrella for consumer engagement and doing things right. When the division dropped, it was a buggy mess. It was awful. I mean, it really was. You wanted to love the game, but it was so tough to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I
And they
agree.
listened to fan feedback. They held summits both in Europe and in the US, got playtesting feedback from their fans. They talked to Skill Up. They talked to oh, what's the guy over the Netherlands? Blah, 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 blanking on his name now. Um, I mean, they talked to the YouTubers that were really big on the division, the ones that loved the game, that had that had criticism, but wanted to see it succeed. Like they listened to the people that mattered, and they turned it around. They really did. I think the division it is now what it should have been at the start. But for a first time project, I mean, you give them a little bit of slack, and now I'd say it's a good time to support that game.
Yeah, I mean, after they did the big patch, when was it?
One
I can't
point
remember.
one point three was the first big patch, and then
Yeah,
they had another one at 1.6, and then another one again at 1.8, which is the final patch. The final
yeah.
patch actually included a horde mode for free, regardless of whether or not you had the season pass.
Yeah, and they didn't go up on the game. They continued supporting
Yes.
that game and built player and the player base re-energized, and a lot of freaking people came back to it, and even new players came and bought the game. And that's
Yeah.
how you do it. You build trust with your consumers. You give them if you give them free good content, they're gonna support you with whatever, if they can
Even if it's a
buy.
bad game, yeah. I mean, if it's a
Yeah,
bad game, but you give out some free content that extends it and makes it halfway fun, sure, people will check it out. They might not stick around, but they will give you a chance. They will give
yeah,
you the
and
benefit of the doubt.
they will actually put more money into it. Well, let's
Yeah,
say they can buy cosmetic stuff or something
yeah.
like that. If the game is fair, it's fun to play. Might not even be the best game to
Mhm.
play. As long as you're having fun, there it's fair to you, and you don't feel like you're being ripped off. People and gamers in general are gonna enjoy and put more money into it. That
Preach,
it's
preach.
it's as easy as that. And I mean, look at Nintendo. People are
Yeah.
giving them a chance because they're putting all their games library on the Switch. They're as far as I
Bringing
know,
back the old Wii U games that nobody
yeah,
bought
yes,
except me.
exactly. And they're giving the consumer what they want. They knew that they screwed up with Wii U, but I mean, generally. if you give people what they're asking for, and listen to consumer feedback, you're gonna get loyal customers and people who
Definitely.
are gonna love. And we all we have these stories with Destiny 2, where they just
Yeah.
constantly they manage to fuck up that badly each year. You have what else do we have? I mean, generally these franchises we're gonna see with Anthem, if that's
Yeah.
gonna be a thing. So I mean, it seems like some companies are unwilling to learn, and they just they're just training the, like it's a like a rubber band with their consumers, and EA is
Yeah.
stretching it so far. Eventually it's gonna snap and it's gonna hit their face and it's gonna hurt for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, yeah, we've been almost an hour now. Is there anything you want to add at the end here?
You know, I want to see something. I want to see something different out of Bethesda and Newbies, out of all of them. Really, I want to see something where I want to see these studios take more risks. You look at titles like Horizon Zero Dawn, for example, that completely out of left field. Nobody really expected it, but it was very successful. We see, and you look at or games like Sonic Mania, where it was a bunch of fan devs got hired by Sega and made a tribute to the classic Sonic the Hedgehog games, and it was fucking amazing. And yes, I bought the collector's edition because that thing is just awesome. It's great. I love it. You see, I want to see more developers doing stuff like that. You know, I know High Voltage Software didn't make the best games on the Wii, but the Conduit was unique for going out on a limb and doing something that nobody else did. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible. But it was fun, and I want to see more. I want to see more risks being taken because I'm far more likely to go out on a limb on a risk on a game where on a more risky game where somebody's doing where they're doing something different or something interesting. Say, huh, that's new. I'll try it. But we're seeing a lot of these like tried and true formulaic games. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Far Cry 5, but it is the exact same formula as 3, 4, and Primal. We've seen this progression before. We've seen this style of game before. And I can't say that it's anything particularly different.
Mm.
If what I want to see is more of a I want to see something new. I want to see something fun. I want to see people trying something that we haven't seen before, like Monster Hunter World coming back to the mainline consoles instead of handheld. That was huge. That was unique. That was different. Um,
Yes.
I want to see something that has me go, huh, I was not expecting that. That's cool. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I feel myself more excited for new IPs and to see something different, because the industry right now, it just feels like they're using old IPs and trying to either use them and try to innovate, like Black Ops 4 with
Yeah,
the battle royale mode, and just removing single player altogether, which is a huge mistake if you're asking
yeah,
me. I actually bought
yeah.
Infinite Warfare on a sale just to play the single player. I refuse playing those games on multiplayer. And I'm not gonna buy especially that game for full price if it doesn't have single player or something outside of multiplayer, because uh, I I hate playing only online. Sometimes I just want to play a story and do something different.
or if they had like an offline instant action where it's you and a bunch of bots, just so you can go around and frag a bunch of enemies and stuff, and not have to
Yeah,
care too much if they're all like running noob mode just because you need to blow off some steam. Like it amazes me that we don't see that more often. Really?
yeah. I used to actually do that when my brother was here. We played Black Ops 2, I think 2 or 3. We had the smallest map. It was just us two against a bunch of bots, and we were just having a bunch of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
you should be able to do that as well. And
And shit, I did that with Counter Strike back in the pre Steam days. I just start up a little session, set up pot bots so I could have a bunch of bots in there and set them to low difficulty and just go run around and frag things because that was fun to me.
yes, because sometimes you just want to have just a little bit stupid fun,
Yeah,
and just that's why I want to see, even when mostly I just want to see new IPs. That's why I'm excited for Spider-Man. It's an IP, but it's never really been utilized in a very good manner. You have had some decent, maybe some good games of Spider-Man, but I really want a great game of Spider-Man.
I gotcha.
And also just use, if you have some existing IPs, uh like a Shadow of War or a Shadow of Mordor. It's something different in that
Yeah,
setting, even though a lot of people didn't like Shadow of War's loot box, but I enjoyed the game.
yeah.
I finished it not that long ago. I thought it was a really good game,
Okay.
and just do something different with the IPs that isn't the same thing that we've seen all the time.
I
And
could see a Middle Earth tactics strategy game, almost in the vein of like a Civilization or like a Dynasty Tactics type of deal.
well,
I could see one of those doing all right.
there used to be a franchise. We only had two games in the franchise called Battle for Middle Earth. That
I was a
was
beta tester
really
for the second one.
oh, okay.
I didn't like the Battle for Middle Earth games.
I My brother and I, we played those games religiously.
Okay, all right.
We really like them. So sometimes we were just just fortified ourselves in either Minas Tirith or Helm's Deep, and then try to defend it on highest difficulty and just watch the meme unfold on the screen. It was so it was so much fun, and
Yeah,
creating your own hero for that game. Oh my god, that was it was just so much fun.
nice.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm telling you, I just want something new, some new IP, some new announcement, which hasn't a 2 or a 3 behind
Yeah,
it. That's different. I mean, you can still use the IP for something like say Halo. You can make Halo Wars or something, but
yeah,
do something new. That's what makes me excited, and that's what the E3 should be about. It's basically Christmas for all gamers.
yeah, yeah. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. I think we've pretty much covered it.
I think
I
so
put all
too.
your
Yeah,
I put all your links in the description if they want to check you out on Twitter,
thank you.
Minds, or whatever they want
Yep.
to check you out on.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think I've got. I didn't have enough space in this week's stream for that, so I'll put them in a comment on Steemit, for so that people can so people can follow you as well over on YouTube, and I'll get your minds. And you're on Gab, right?
no, I haven't signed up yet.
Okay,
So
alrighty.
currently, I'm focusing on building my channel on Minds, uploading all of
Okay,
my videos there as well. So,
okay.
but yeah.
I'm gonna get you over on Steemit eventually. I tell you, I'm telling you, dude. You're gonna join Steemit eventually.
All right. Yeah. If people on your end, on your video which you upload, if they have like topics or comments that they add, we should definitely talk about them on next time. All
Yeah,
right. When they do it during the stream, that it's always
yeah,
fun to
definitely.
to have people interact with us live. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's pretty much covers that. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys
Thank
next time.
you.
Bye.
Bye.